So before the next fish update drops during the weekend on the admin abuse, these are some things you need to do now to make billions. So obviously there is going to be the new change to the black market where it's actually going to be here for the full weekend. You need to do this to make billions before that comes in, and also a huge change to the economy and all this stuff. So today's video, I'm going to be going over all of the best money methods that I've found most far that are completely broken. But obviously, as a note, the devs have completely hinted at a bunch of systems in which I'm going to be showing you right now. They're going to both get nerfed, so you might want to try to maximize as much as can making money from these methods. So make sure you watch my entire video so you don't miss out on anything important. So before we get into this though, do make sure okay, so there are two main ways you can make a ton of money inside of Fish currently, and right now there's both active grinding and then passive grinding. So a lot of people don't obviously have plenty of time like I do to actively fish, test out different rods, grinding strats and all that, and continuously do that. So instead, one of the main ways people like to do is going to be using such systems as the aquarium. Now obviously the aquarium is a very continuous source of money for most players, but it is a bit difficult to make a lot of money from this, which is understandable. But as a quick note, I'm going to be giving away a ton of aquarium fish that'll make you millions and millions an hour. So if you want them, all you got to do is simply comment your Roblox username down below, leave a like, and hype this video. If you're on mobile, all you got to do is go down, scroll over to hype, click that button, and you'll hype this video. Comment your Roblox username once again, leave a like, and I'll enter you into the aquarium giveaway. But one of the main things though alongside this is the aquarium is I have a full system explaining the full functionality of this, but essentially the fish multiplier system, it's actually very complex. So inside of the personal aquarium, right, you have the fish food multipliers and all that. So the hourly profit you will make is, as you see, calculated based on 25% of the current fish value placed in the player's aquarium. Then there's this full calculation system based on the mutations and all that. So it does not mean if your fish is worth 1 million, it'll make 250,000 an hour. What it means is if your fish, its base value without mutations, without all that stuff, it'll take that and then it'll multiply it based on your mutations and have a whole calculation system on that. So what it means is it's way more complex than it should be, but it makes sense if you know what it is. So pretty much essentially what you want to do to make the most money out of your aquarium is avoid these specific ones. So Apex, 16, Secret, and Exotic actually lose value inside of the aquarium since they're more common. Unlike limiteds and other rarities, they're actually going to be nerfed. Now there are multiple rarities. I think one of the most common high rarity ones is going to be found in the ocean, which is Apex. Now I actually do think they removed the one rarity, which was Cataclysmic. I do genuinely think, yeah, they removed this. So they pretty much merged this with Apex. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. As you can note though, is pretty much the only fish that's going to be of value that you should use is going to be any limited fish from admin abuse, which I mean obviously is a bit of an inconvenience, but for the most part it's pretty simple. So once again, you want to make sure your fish is firstly very big base size. So what you can do is go to the fish Wikipedia, find the fish you're using. So if I'm using a corrupted, we'll just do a corrupted floppy and say that corrupted floppy has a max kg of 147 kg, and then on top of that mine is say like 1,000 kg or something, and then has a huge multiplier on that. Its base value in the aquarium is going to be based off of this kg that it initially has. But whenever you appraise a fish and say the treasure appraisal, whenever the size kg of the fish you initially catch is actually going to be the base for when you appraise it, meaning it's really easy to get giant mutations on fish when you catch them that are already big. So using some rod with Sea Overlord or Sea Prince is very beneficial for this, which is one of the reasons why during admin abuse I'd recommend using something like the Fabulous Rod or getting Sea Overlord on this, or if you can, Dussiker Rod is pretty good, or the Sir Leland Fang Rod, and then using some bait like the Taco Bait or using the Alien Bait or the UFO, whatever the crap it's called. Now the reason for this is you can get the mutation naturally obtained from those fish bait, but at the same time you can also get the beneficial factor of making the fish even catchable in the first place because of the high mutation and all that from the rod. Now the next thing is going to be the other ways you can grind money. Now I would recommend, for the most part, if you're fishing using auroras. Now if you can't run auroras consistently, join public servers, since pretty much most of the time there's always going to be hackers running auroras in public servers, and if you can't find a public server with a hacker, server hop, you'll find one And once you do find one, most likely they're going to be AFKing and they're hacks. So what that means is essentially you're going to be able to get great value out of it. So you'll be able to stay in that server for a long time, and that hacker will be in there, you know, running Auroras for a while because they're most likely AFKing. Now, what you can do is go to these are going to be my favorite spots personally. Is first things first is going to be over at Castaway Cliffs, which is, you know, the most common. But then there's a second spot, and then there is one final method I'll explain to you for grinding money that it did actually get nerfed, but there's actually a way to make it still overpowered. So what we're going to do is this area in Castaway Cliffs. Now, one thing I will recommend doing is until the thing is nerfed, using the fail safe method where you like do that. My UI navigation was on, but you know, you get that. The where you can like walk off into the water and fail it on purpose. That is a really broken way to farm effectively, especially during an Aurora and if you use the necessary bait. So during an Aurora using at Castaway Cliffs, I think it's fish head, you actually have around a 30% chance to catch both of these, or the scalloped, and then I think it's way higher for this one, meaning you can fail and do that, rinse and repeat it repetitively till you get the fish, and you can do that way faster, probably even like get to catching one before, you know, you could catch one fish in general. So very effective way. Now the next spot is going to be fishing over at Carrot Garden. This is if you cannot run Auroras. This is going to be over at Mushgrove Swamp. As a note, I would honestly, even if you can run Auroras, you should probably also fish here too. It really just depends on your capabilities with what rods you have. Now inside of Carrot Garden, we're just going to fish in here, just in this body of water. It's really simple. You just want to fish in this section. This is going to be pretty good because once again, similar to Castaway Cliffs, there is an exotic here you can catch with a very high chance for that. Now, one of the final strategies we're going to be using in today's video for grinding is also, as another note, kind of forgot this, for the rods that you're using for money progression and all that, there are some things you should know. So for value wise, I would recommend some rod that can give a high mutation, but also isn't impossible to use in the first place. And one of the main things is rods that have high mutations naturally, like Ruinous Oath, or not Fabulous Rod, but Ruinous Oath, pretty much where it's like a guaranteed, or the tryhard rod. The issue with these is they're harder to catch the fish pretty much to get that mutation, meaning there's like a trade-off. Now what you can do though is get a rod that has like a chance for the mutation. So you could use a rod like the Fabulous Rod, you could use Evil Pitchfork, you could use, I know a lot of newer ones like the Ilion Rod for Phantom, or the Lucid Rod. Things like that are going to be very, very beneficial for fishing because you can do the glitch method to just, you know, reset the fish you're catching until you get the one with the mutation, but effectively allowing you to do that. But you do want to make sure you use that method to effectively do that. Now the last and best strategy by far is going to be currently the angler method, and I'll show you the best way to do this even after it got kind of nerfed. So first things first is you want to do as many angler quests here as you possibly can. Now one thing is I have seen a community post that they might actually change this system, meaning so if you're stuck on a fish, like I don't really want to, you know, sit and catch the whisker bill, but they might add a system where if you're stuck on one and you don't want to really do it, you can actually cancel it and, you know, go and re-equip the new quest. So this would be very beneficial. The best way you could use a system like this is, for example, if you're using the angler quest, right, and you're using it in a different zone and you're trying to efficiently get a fish you want to use or a high value trade in, then you pretty much just reset it until you get the one you want. Now another thing to note is they did nerf the system where you could make hundreds of millions off of each fish, but you can still make a lot off each fish. And it is pretty much relatively similar, but in a different way. And I'll show you the best way to actually grind, since a lot of people didn't have this formula down. Now, what we're going to be doing is firstly picking the best zone to go to. So obviously the best zone is either going to be Luminescent Cavern or Crimson Cavern because of their trade-in. Now, what I do think is there might actually, I mean, I literally have to go check because I saw someone ask me this in my Discord server, which you should totally join in the description. If there is a angler at Lost Jungle, because you could do something like the Moss Jaw. And I mean, that is a very high trade-in. It's similar to the Colossal Ethereal Dragon. So this would be a very good spot as well, if not even just the Luminescent Cavern. Ooh, there is an angler quest here. So yeah, you might actually want to do the angler quest here. Now the only issue is physically getting to the angler is way harder because you have to run all the way around, but I mean, I'm not complaining. This is not too difficult. So yes, one spot you should definitely do is potentially here. So, you know, they're asking for a whisker bill because that's the current quest I have, but that is a still very, very good thing. So what this allows is you could get a moss jaw. So like you get this, you know, this spicy giant corrupted moss jaw or bubblegum big moss jaw. You could get fish like this, crazy high value. Trade those in, especially if you got an elder moss jaw, that would be insane. But you could come here and reset and just recycle the quest till you actually get one or the moss jaw, and then leave or just reset it and join. Now I'll show you the best way you can farm this, but another spot you should probably consider doing it for this quest is going to be over in the luminescent cavern right here. Now I'd recommend using just this guy right here because the colossal blue dragon is way easier than the colossal ancient or the colossal ethereal. You don't have to go all the way into crimson since you can't set your spawn there. So what you'll do is simply just use sundials, fish in this section since this is where it'll spawn in. Get as many as you can. You can really farm them and then just sit and farm the quest. Now the best way you can do so is going to be, say you join in, right? It'll have a mark. Like when you catch a fish, it's the same mark. So it'll have, if it's the exotic mark above it, that'll be when you know it's the colossal blue dragon. Now what you'll do is if you don't have that one, it won't change until either you complete the quest on a different NPC until you rejoin. So my personal recommendation is probably going to be just to leave and rejoin, especially if you have a decently fast loading device, because the main issue is going to be, as you see now, I'm stuck on a mythic from a different zone. And even only being a mythic rarity, this one is actually a bit of an inconvenience to catch. So what we'll actually do, simply just leave the game, and then once you know it loads, we're just going to go back into fish. I mean, I'm going to be going back into my private server, but I mean realistically, if you just want to prioritize efficiency, you can just join into a public server just because you can click the button right off the bat and load in, and then you'll literally just be able to click continue, walk right over here and start the next quest, and just rinse and repeat that until you get the one you want. Now as a note, I would obviously recommend having one with a ton of mutations on it, giving high value. Like this one right here is worth a bunch of millions. I think it's like nearly 10 million. So something like that would be the smartest strategy. But for the most part, that is pretty much it for the video. Once again, if this helped you out, I'm going to be posting more money making methods. I just had to give you a bit of an update from my previous ones. It's a bit outdated because of the changes to the angler and all that, but we'll be updating this after the mini update comes out this weekend. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But pretty much, if this helped you out, make sure to leave